good, man?
Yeah,
Bro just came
much.
fresh from the damn paint bucket.
Yeah, man. Just this is my everyday right here. Paint on the clothes. I don't know. I feel the most comfortable with this, and it's like actually these pants I had on. I was filming for my WHRO curate
I saw that.
episode.
Is that the documentary one? That was like,
Yeah, so it came out. It came out Black Friday last year, and Black Friday, and there was a scene where I was wearing like all white, and they had some pants for me, and I was like, cool. Normally I just wear all black, and just let the paint just build over time, and I've just been rocking with these white pants ever since, man. So
yeah, I seen. Matter of fact, in that documentary, there was a cool shot. You were like wearing all black, and then you had your head down, I think.
Yes.
And you couldn't see you because you were blending in with a. You know what I'm saying? Then you picked your head up.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
That scene, man. That scene was crazy. It was Kenny, who was directing that whole that scene and that project. He came to me. He was like, man, we have this one scene. We're gonna need you, in all black, and it's gonna be cool. And so people kept like raving about that one scene of like my head popping up, and it was crazy. It was crazy, man. So.
Wait, who shot that documentary?
Kenny.
Does he work for
Yeah, he works for WHRO. So he's like, one of the lead directors with like, film over there. And so
you met him doing that, or you already knew him?
Yeah, I've known him. I met him previously through the Can. He's worked with other Can artists, of course, Asa and Hampton. He did a project with them like a while back, and I think the first project that he shot with Asa, this was before 670, back in like early 20.
That's his first studio,
670
right?
gallery. Yeah, so that was like our first gallery.
So you knew Asa when he had that one?
Yeah, so before, it was like right during their grand opening.
That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, this was
So you know Asa. Okay, you know him for a while.
I've known Asa for a while. So this is we met for the first time. This is like maybe summer of 2014. And so coming out of college and met Asa and his wife Kara Jackson in Target's parking lot, actually. And I was familiar with his work, never met him in person. And I was like,
was this here in Newport News here?
No, this is in Hampton.
Okay.
The Hampton Target. And I was like, that has to be him, And so I just called out his name, and then Kara was like, I think he's talking to you. And he was like, yeah, man. He was like, I've seen your work and stuff like that before. This is before like the whole like scene shapes thing. This is
what were you doing at the time?
Yeah, before I was doing like portrait painting, still life painting. Really consider myself like a portrait painter, still life painting. Before really diving into like the abstract world. That didn't really come about until like 2015. Yeah, like 20.
But you said, so when you saw Asa in that Target parking lot, you knew of him? You knew him too?
Yeah, I knew of his work.
Okay.
And so
I guess where were you see him at the time? Was it like Instagram or?
Yeah, it was through Instagram. I would see different things pop up. And then I remember seeing the name Asa Jackson. And I just paired that with the work, and there was a show that I had coming out of college. This was like I want to say maybe late 2014. Or early 2015. I get my years mixed up between that time.
Yeah.
But I had a show, and at that time it was, I believe Michelle Gilliam was running that gallery space at Down and Gross. It was like one of my first.
I did an open mic there one time. That's like downtown Newport News.
Yeah,
right?
downtown Newport News. Yeah.
Which I think, my bad, just to cut you off.
Yeah,
but I think that's like a free spot they have like a lot of free stuff for people to use there.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's like nobody knows about it.
Yeah, it's really it's like it's one of those if you know spots and like the resources they have available, and so I got more familiar with the space or with the building out of school, and I think this is before Cindy started kind of curating the space, but I met Michelle. She had like a team and I was working with, and she kind of offered me my first major contract show. Did a series of 20 portraits. I had like a month to complete everything. So I was working like long hours in a day. Yeah, this is for Down and Gross. And so the show,
What were the portraits of?
the portraits were just honoring like dignitaries of like,
Well, I guess
Newport
who
News
were
and
the
like the
portraits of,
region.
yeah.
So like, former mayors and the sheriff and just, different people in position, and just kind of like honor also like Newport News in that way. And so they kind of had like a list of like names for me, and so I was told to do like portraits of all of the different artists. I mean, not artists, dignitaries.
Were some of the people's names they gave you like you didn't know them? You had to go do your own research, or you knew everybody on it?
I knew most of the list. I knew at that time most of the list, but then there were definitely some names that I had to go back and like researched, and some of those dignitaries since then have like retired from the position. I couldn't, if you were to ask me, I couldn't tell you all the names listed right now, but it was about 20 dignitaries that I had, and yeah, man, it was very like loosely painted, still in like black and white, but it was like had like a lot of like gray values in there.
So you was always doing black and white?
It was, yeah, black and white's always been the
yeah.
constant like thread, man,
Yeah.
since
So this is like kind of, is this the last kind of project you did with the portraits before you switched to the abstract?
Yep. So this is like the last major, and so coming out of that show, just to kind of circle back, so Michelle was like, yeah, she was like, did you meet Asa Jackson? And I was like, his name came up, I was like, I'm familiar with his work, but I haven't, met him in person. And she was like, yeah, he was like good person to meet if you want to really, get into this. And I was like, well, I'm sure we'll meet in time. And yeah, so we met at Target's parking lot and ran into him, and kind of just hit it off. And he was like, yeah, we're opening up a gallery actually, across the street here. So if you want to come by, check it out.
He was talking about the can or the 670?
Yeah, this is 670.
Okay.
And so I was like, yeah, this is it right here. Walked into the space, and I was like, man, I need to be a part of this. And yeah.
Where was 670?
Yeah, 670. So it was actually near, so it was at the Peninsula Town Center Mall. So like it was around like when it was like brand new, just open.
Okay, yeah.
And so they had a front there, and I think he got offered the space right after his documentary came out. And so they were offered the space, and came by, and I was like, man, this is, I feel like I can get a lot out of this, and just wanting to know more about the art world, and really just get my foot in there, and yeah. Yep.
So that's how you meet Asa.
Yeah, so that's how we met. And that was the beginning.
Hey, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay, so you want to just tell us a little bit about just childhood life coming up, how you even got into doing creative stuff?
Yeah, man. So it started early, man. Only child growing up. So I was trying to find ways to really just keep myself entertained. I was big on like cartoons and anime growing up heavy.
What cartoons?
Of course, at the top of the list, man. And people were gonna say, "Oh man, he's that show." But Dragon Ball Z,
I swear,
Dragon Ball Z really inspired me.
No, we were coming up, bro. Literally coming up elementary school. All we did was draw like supercars and Dragon Ball Z characters.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was the start of it, right? And this is before I was even like collecting action figures at that time. I was like, let me draw out the characters and then cut them out. And then I would take cardboard and just glue the cardboard to the back of the paper and just like use that as like, figures. And just really just a way to keep myself entertained. And yeah, had a good time with that. And then watching cartoons, and I was like, man, this might be something that, I can do. My folks recognized it at an early age. I started drawing real heavy, like the age of 3. The first image, I guess, that I created was a photo of my grandma watering flowers in her yard. And
how old were you in this?
Yeah, I was 3.
At 3?
I was 3. Very
Were your
detailed.
parents like, yo, you were like really good for
yeah.
Like, so you were actually okay. So
yeah,
you,
so
like a prodigy with this shit.
Yeah, for the age of 3, they were like, yeah, they were.
You remind me of the kids, like those like little kids. They'll like know all the presidents or just know random facts. Like,
yeah, it's always mind blowing to me. And I was like,
you had like a knack for people. Certain people just have a knack for certain things.
Yeah, and so like they have recognized it early, And they were like, yeah, we're gonna put him into programs. And my folks have always been super supportive of, I guess just seeing like the talent that was there, and kind of just took that with me. And then I was drawing, like I say, just to keep myself busy. And if I wasn't outside, I wasn't too much of a gamer. I really wasn't heavy into sports. So yeah, I would be in the house drawing, and that was like my way, to pass time. And it didn't really click that that could be something as a career, until like later in life. So like after college, you know. Well, really, yeah, I want to say like after college, but like during college, I knew that I was like, yeah, I want to pursue this, but I didn't know. I kind of had like the pressures of like society pressures and family pressures of like.
I feel like a
can I
lot of
really
people
do this,
that I feel like a lot of people that like that I know that like could draw good ended up doing tattoos.
Yeah.
Is that like a popular medium for people to go into?
Yeah, it is. I would say so. All the time, man, people are like, if you say like I'm an artist, the first thing that clicks, is like, oh, do you do tattoos? And I always say no.
Have you got people that like ask you to draw their tattoo for them?
Yeah, that's happened.
Okay,
Not
yeah.
too much anymore, but in the beginning, like it was definitely a lot of that, And but I knew that I kind of wanted to take my work in a direction where it was like clear, with kind of just my style of work, but then just this visual language that I wanted to communicate, to where like you would kind of know what you're getting if you asked me for a commission or anything, So not really doing anything outside of that, to really focus on this is the work, this is what I'm doing. And so yeah, that's where I was at with that.
Do these like different like pieces, like so you had the portraits, then you're going to the abstract. Do you feel like these different pieces like they're like markers in your life, or like where were you at where you were at the time? Like you look at them that way.
I would
How you
say
look at
that.
these different pieces.
Yeah, I would say that. So yeah, looking at like my early work, it definitely was like a mark of like a fresh start. I took a trip to Florida for Art Basel. This was in 2015.
That's like the top of the top, right?
Yeah, it's the top of the top.
Yeah.
So you have like blue chip level.
Ace taught me about what blue chip means.
Yeah. So blue chip level artists, that are doing things at like, just major in the art world, and artists like Shepard Fairey, Cleon Peterson, and so where if their name comes up in conversation, you know exactly, who they are.
They got a blue chip.
So like, yeah, so blue chip, man. But then you have artists that are actually going to that level, they're working their way up, and so they have different like fairs and different things that you can attend while you're there.
At Art Basel?
Yeah, at Art Basel, yeah. And then of course like you have like the pool of like street artists, that are there. So you're seeing things in Wynwood, murals on the wall. Yeah, it's stuff all over the place, man. And it's just a good time. And I enjoy more so the street art because it's something that's like accessible to everyone, and just seeing like what they were able to do with that, and how it was like drawing, attention to, the area. All of a sudden you're seeing like restaurants popping up, different things, and people, tourism, and now people just want to, fly there and, see what's up with the area.
Isn't Art Basel, it's not like a week long too, or it's not like
yeah, it's just a few days actually. It's like
Okay.
about 3 to 4 days. And I believe it takes place in like Miami. I want to say Hong Kong, could be wrong. And then it's like one other location.
Every year?
Yeah, every year. So I think they did take a year off during like COVID, but yeah, every year, man. So like every December, it's always in December, and it's where all the renowned artists and curators and galleries are coming to one place to check out art. And
do they have in the art world, like we're talking about Art Basel and stuff like that, like do they ever have random like newcomers come out of nowhere? Like if you like in music, you can have somebody blow up overnight and be like the star of the year, but just came out of nowhere. Like
yes,
I feel like is it like that in art?
Yeah.
Or is it like it's more like it's like a long game? I feel like
I would say, I mean, you have those are areas where like you
I
have,
guess there's somebody at Art Basel that just popped up like last year that nobody even knew about them, but now he's at Art
Yeah.
Basel this year.
yeah, that's possible. It's definitely possible. I think it's just because it's a fair, it's an event where you have eyes all over the world that's on you, and it's something that you know it's yeah, you just have eyes on you, and you have like the galleries and these directors that are here, and they're looking at the work that you're doing. So like even if you're like emerging,
Yeah.
they see your work, and then you are able to take off in that way. But I do feel like there's this kind of like paying self dues, where it's like you're paying your dues for years and kind of putting in the work to be able to even get to that place, where you're presenting your work in front of that audience. And then it's like, okay, and then that kind of can lead into another opportunity, kind of use that as like leverage, but you do find times where it could be more of like an overnight thing. But
Who's the last person to pop like in the art world?
the most recent, I'm gonna be honest, I've been keeping up with artists that have been established for a while, just really looking into what they're doing. I haven't been studying too crazy on like new emerging artists, but like they're already established. Like I'm already, I'm looking at like William LaChance, like I say, Cleon, Shepard Fairey, and and then art like Hende Wiley, just looking at artists that are kind of already established and seeing what they're doing, but not getting too consumed with it, just for inspiration, and because I'm trying to like really just stay focused on like what I have going on, so that way it doesn't become too much of like distraction or quick to compare.
I'm just thinking of like the trajectory and also just like talking about like the amount of people that pop.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like it's different. It's just interesting how it's different for different fields.
Yeah.
Like even if you look at like snacks, it's like there's not that many new snacks that come out. You look at certain like foods or whatever drinks. And then you look at music. It's always new music coming out. It's always new people popping in the art world. Like probably for a person like myself that's not too like tapped into everything that's going on in art, I'm just kind of seeing it passing. Like, oh, that's cool. Like I like what I like or whatever.
Yeah.
To us, it seems like we don't hear about painters and stuff till damn near they die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm just interested in kind of the trajectory of painters and like how long it usually takes, or like is there steps? I know you're not now. You're in like I know you sold your first piece in a museum, right?
Yeah, that happened recently. Yeah. So
so we can get into that, but it's like whatever price is sold for, that's like your starting price, and what usually people just build up over time. Like then eventually your stuff is worth millions or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like how does that?
Right. So with my work, right? Actually, I'll go back to a story. Just a scenario. I was a part of an auction that was organized by 670, and this is with the Hampton Rose Academy School, and I had a painting that like I spent time on, and this is before really seeing shapes, and this was a painting that was in color. I did like a red rose and had like a black background, and spent time framing it. It was like my first time actually building the frame myself, and it was like an all-day thing, and ended up not selling in the auction, and I was seeing like paintings and like how the whole process works, and it was like my first time experiencing that.
Does clout have a play in that?
It, in a way that like what you've done, it does kind of like add to that, because it's like people are hearing, oh wow, they were involved in this, their work has been shown in this place, that place. It kind of adds to that, so people are quick to like bid.
Do you see people buy paintings from people they never heard of?
Of course, that happens all the time.
Okay.
That's like that's when bidders are like probably the most eager to hop on, a new artist, because it's like emerging and artists that they see potential and they're artists, so they want to kind of like, hop on that.
But yeah, so you're framed one with color.
Yeah, so
Didn't
the
sell.
frame, it didn't sell, but I had one that was hanging in the lobby area. It was like, it was a white rose that I painted, black background. It was quite large. I think this was like 36 by 48. And there was a collector there who walked up to me, and she was like, I know this wasn't a part of the auction, but,
She said, I need that.
yeah, she was like, I need that for the collection. Like, she was like, I'll walk to the bank right now. Took her heels off, walked to the bank, came back, and, that was like my first, like.
How far was the bank?
Man, this was like the bank.
She got back sweaty, her hair off like that.
Yeah,
like, I made it. I went to the bank.
Yeah, like the bank it actually was across the street. May have been Bayport. Yeah, so not too far, but still, like the fact that she was willing to just, she was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this today, and yeah, so then, really just getting my foot wet into that, I was like, yeah, I know where I need to go, and
So what happened with the painting that didn't get sold? You still have that?
yeah, I actually painted over that. So
wow.
Now I'm gonna go back to the transition. So after my first trip to Art Basel, I realized, I was like, yeah, I want to go in a different direction altogether with my work. I want to get to a place where I can really just evoke emotion and have people feel. And, black and white was something that always just, I felt that was true and authentic to me. It didn't hit me like early in school, but like after school is when it hit me, and it's like after this experience, and I was looking at artists who, like Rothko and, seeing like Keith Haring, originals in person. And I was like, yeah, this is something that, I need to go in a different direction with my work, because I really was just doing work for the contract and not really anything that was, representing me. So, and I started exploring shapes on paper, in my sketchbook, doing a lot of drawing. And I was like, yeah, this is it. So then, I started just working big on canvas and exploring shapes, something that just stood out to me, random shapes that were just, whatever I was coming up with at that time, responding to what I put down. And yeah, kind of just came from there, really.
Hexagons, octagons.
Yeah,
What's the more shapes? I don't even know.
Yeah, I realized, and then too, in the beginning, I actually was including like, different shapes, like triangles and different things. And I felt like, okay, over time, like the shapes, I wanted them to be more organic and round. To me, it's like a round circle represents something that's like continuous. And I feel like, with my journey, with this, it was something that it was like this ongoing thing, it's not like you get to a place where it's like, okay, I've like made it, even when you get to a high level or like blue chip level, it's like there are things that you can still learn about yourself to develop the work even more, even at that level, so I feel like it's a thing that's ongoing until it's your time,
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
I don't think it stops, bro.
Yeah, it does.
Like, how people, I feel like I've heard before people will question like rich people like that are super. It's like, why does he keep doing it? Why does he keep going? Like, he has all the money. It's like, but it's not about that.
It's not.
It's like when you're really just doing stuff that's like an expression.
Yeah.
Like you talk about, you feel like that didn't represent you, like
right.
just the contract. So it comes to a point when you're just creating stuff. It's not like you're not really even thinking about what happens with it once you create it. Like you just like you like doing the creating part.
Exactly.
So it's not like, oh, I made 10 paintings, now I'm good, I don't have to do it no more.
Yeah.
It's just something that you're gonna feel like doing forever.
Yeah.
Or until you don't, until you might not, you might stop feeling like it one day. But it's like,
yeah, it's
that's
like,
the cool
not?
part of it.
Exactly. Like, so it's like that's part of the fun with doing that, man. It's like, if I'm 80, 90, I'm still working, like I'm
you still gonna be doing black and white.
I'm
80?
still, it's like I'm still at it, man. It's like that's not gonna stop. It's like really, as long as I have, like, if I'm able to, like, if my arm is still moving, I'm gonna still be at it, man. I'm still be at it. So, and that's something that I think what inspires me or what motivates me is like I speak on this all the time, but the possibility of things and the potential of things, because you don't know. And this is, back to what Ace had mentioned before, it's kind of like, the art world is something that's kind of like unregulated in a way that like there's no set formula on how to really become successful with it. It's kind of like it's whatever really works for you. And that's gonna look different for everyone. So I realized that, and I also realized, like I didn't really get big on social media. I think really till like my senior year of college, someone was like, "Hey, you should make an Instagram," and I was like, "I don't need that." I was like, "I'll just post."
Then the president made one.
Yeah,
He's like, matter of fact,
the president.
I think I do need one.
Yeah, it was like, you know what? They were like, use it to promote your
Remember, there
work.
was a time when we were all hip to social media, but the government wasn't on. Like, businesses still weren't on it, but like the people were. Like, it was already just as popular as it is now with the people.
Yeah.
But then it's like you see, every company's making a Twitter, every company's making a whatever it is. Like,
yeah, it's something that is like, it's necessary now because it's you're able to kind of reach a lot of people, a lot quicker. But then there's something that's special about like the word of mouth, still
sure.
something that like
that still beats social media. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, social media is still that's just word of mouth still, but it's like I don't know. Yeah, it's still the same thing. Word of mouth.
Necessary, man. The word of mouth, and I feel like that's something that I wanted to make sure that I wasn't losing that, but then I also wanted to use Instagram as like a business tool to help promote and really market the work. And that's something that, I realized over time. I was like, wow, it's like how you kind of present the work. Instagram is, it's like an instant portfolio of what you do and what you can offer. So it's something that I realized I was like, yeah, I need to kind of restructure, my page. And then, I was like, well, if everything that I'm doing is in black and white, then, all of my photos and videos, I'm gonna make sure it's in black and white.
Bro, you should just start wearing glasses so you see the world in black and white.
Right.
Like black and white glasses?
Man, I had some.
Right?
Yeah, I think I lost them. I was working on a project recently.
Oh, you were actually doing that? Just walking around just looking at the world?
Yeah, it was like, I had glasses and it had like the frames of it was white. And they were like my everyday shades, man. And
no, I'm talking about like where the lenses...
Oh, or the lenses
when
themselves.
When you look through it, the world will look in black and white.
Man, if you get a pair, man, yeah, throw some my way, man.
I'm sure they have those. I got you a little birthday gift.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's coming up, man.
Write that down. Write that down.
I'm getting up there, but
has social media changed the art world too? Like I know in music, like you like back in the day, you couldn't become successful without a label.
Right.
So it's like now you can post on the internet, go up.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing. So really, if you're representing yourself like independently, like I say, it's about how you present your work. You always want to make sure that your work is presented in the best light. Even with like space where your work is being shown. And all of that kind of builds your story. It's like the provenance, and it's like the full story of like what you've done up until this point, and also like with where you're going. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use Instagram to display that, and then try to remain active with it so that I'm constantly engaging with people that are supporting, like if they comment or anything, or if they share it, I'm always making sure they're like, I'll repost and stuff like that. Just to engage with people that are engaging with my work. I feel like that's important to kind of build that online community, as well as like in person, and so yeah, it's helped my career. I've had opportunities come just from, presenting myself online, and I'm super thankful for it. But yeah, man, it's like a weird thing too, because like you're quick to like compare and see what other artists are doing, or so you can kind of get consumed with that. So it's good to kind of like use it for your business and then get off of it,
Yeah.
so that way you can focus on what you have going on, and to really advance.
Yeah, even on just interacting with people, I feel like I've seen like some people like they'll want to have like millions of viewers.
Yeah.
So they won't like appreciate if they have 100
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And it's like they won't even interact. They'll like almost act like that 100 doesn't even exist.
Exactly.
And they'll just keep thinking about whatever the next million.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think I think it's hard, but I think you can build a genuine like connection with people on social media.
You can.
It all boils down to the type of content you're putting out.
Exactly.
if you're making whatever, I don't know, I'm not gonna single out any content, but if you're making like content that'll make somebody want to get to know you more, or just stuff, I feel like maybe just putting your like, that's actually like you're putting yourself into it.
Yeah.
I think people will recognize that and like want to build that connection.
Yeah, because it's and that's the thing too that with the I call it world building. This was like,
damn, somebody else called it. Who called it world building? That's funny you say that, because one other person told me that, I can't remember. I want to say it was Raja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, world building, man. It was something that really spoke to me. And this was like years ago. Close friend of mine, we were in the garage and we were just talking about, ways like entrepreneurship and like what can we really do for like ourselves, And I was thinking of names for the work and the direction that I wanted to go. And we were spitting off ideas and, came up with Seeing Shapes. And I was like, that could be something, and started using that. And
the design or the name? Or
yeah, more so the name, because I wanted to use that as a way of kind of like branding. If I were to do, like merchandise and different things and products along with like, paintings and murals and things like that, what name would I have for that? So, I was thinking of that, and, Seeing Shapes kind of, spoke to me because that's what I'm doing, And yeah, I've just been going with that ever since, and it's been cool.
What about the amount of pieces you do? Now, because you could probably just sit down today and make not 1,000 pieces, but whatever, a lot of pieces. But it's like, I want to keep it rare, or it's like, how do artists usually look at like the amount of work they have out? You know what I mean?
Man, it's that's a good question. You have to put in the time and really produce what you can, with the time that you have. So, I feel like that's like our job as artists, to really produce, and that's with that you're finding ways to grow and find new things, with like your medium. Like for myself, I consider myself a muralist, like first, and then second, more so like a fine art painter, or like studio painter, So I love working like large. Like I say, to me, you're able to engage with people that may not step foot in a gallery, may not step foot in like a museum, So like, how do you engage with people just on their daily commute to work?
Building.
So it's like you're taking them out of reality. They're driving to work, and it's like, oh wow, you're looking on the side of the road, and it's like, wow, you may feel a connection, or it may remind you of something, and it could make your day. It could, mess up your day, depending on which way you're looking at it. So it just depends, man. But like, I love murals and just public art. That's like my main thing. So I really wanted to push that over the last couple years, and the response has been pretty positive overall. So I'm just looking forward to seeing where that goes.
Yeah. Where's the first building you did the Seeing Shapes design on, and like where all is that now? I guess because I think you lived in Baltimore too.
Yeah, I was there for
Did
residency.
You do stuff out there? Like where is Seeing Shapes at? Because I remember I put it on my story one time. I forgot where.
Yeah.
It was a building I just didn't randomly see. I was driving past. I'm like, yo, this D Kane right here. I'm like, yo, this boy's everywhere in the city. Like, I'm like, what? This was like last year.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool. So my first mural was, I'll say my first outdoor mural. Where was it at? The Hampton Wholesalers building. So it's like an art store. It's right across from the Can, actually. Newport News, right off of Ward.
On which side? Which street?
And it's on the
by the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, by the 7-Eleven. So if you go in the back, it's like right next to the train tracks that are over there.
Okay.
And so it's like behind that that store. It was like, I had an opportunity to paint a mural there. There was a guy that was working at I believe he was a teacher at Phoebus High School. And, he gave me the opportunity. He was like, you want to paint a wall? And I was like, yeah. I said, of course. I said, this will be something different. I've always wanted to kind of, explore that. and that was like really like my first one. Wasn't really sure what I was doing, and
I mean, you did the seeing shapes design, right?
yeah, this is seeing shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like black and white and no projector. I don't.
And am I tripping? Or is that the design always change slightly when you do it, or is it the?
Yeah, it changes every time. I'm big on repetition and like so there's certain like elements that I make sure to include over and over and over. So like I have like rings, with the circles and different things that you can kind of like, if you see it, like who it is, and or like it's something that you can recognize or like connect with something else. So and
So you do the wall behind the 7-Eleven?
yeah, so do the wall behind 7-Eleven, and I was like, man, this is this is a challenge. I was doing everything by a ladder, and but it was cool, man.
Like I told Loplex to with the small ass brush.
Yeah.
What's up with the brush, bro?
Yeah, the brush, man. The brush is like I use a small brush for everything. Spray cans, I use spray cans for like really just laying in like the background just to cover up the whole wall.
Oh, so you do use spray cans?
Yeah, I use spray cans,
Okay.
but for the actual, design,
Yeah.
everything's
So
done with the brush.
You like the black, the whatever. Like,
yeah, because I mainly use like a roller.
Okay.
And then in between, like let's say I'm working on like brick, it's like a textured wall. I go in to spray paint, some of those areas just to make sure that coverage is there.
Yeah.
But everything else is all by hand brush, so. And I use a small brush. People get on me for that. Like, why don't you use a bigger brush? I'm like,
That's what I don't know. If did you see it when I was talking about it with Loplex?
yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I shared that to my story.
I'm
Actually,
gonna do this whole building.
yeah, and so yeah, even the big building in downtown Hampton, all with a small brush. With a hand.
Is that Bro Shop or
No, this was actually so this is on Salvage Boys. So Salvage Boys, it's kind of like a they have like repurposed furniture and like one of a kind pieces, that they repurpose and sell out of their shop. And there's this lady named Sherry, good friends with. I actually ran into her and her son, and they were like, yeah, we have this wall. It's a downtown Hampton. Would you be open to painting this wall? And I'm like, I have to. This is the wall that I actually was looking at in high school, early in high school. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, this will be,
like you wanted to paint on?
Yeah, I wanted to paint on that wall. I didn't know how, when it was gonna happen, but the wall was next to the Air and Space Center.
Yeah.
And my great aunt on my dad's side is Katherine Johnson of NASA, so hearing her story, with her coming up with the formula, to land the first, man on the moon, I was like, yeah, I need to do something.
Wait, what'd she say about that?
Yeah, so Katherine Johnson came up with the formula to put the first man on the moon.
And that's
my great aunt.
That's your great aunt?
Yeah, that's my great aunt. So the movie Hidden Figures,
okay,
they came out, they're released in theaters.
I haven't seen it, but I think I've seen like the trailer or something.
Yeah. So Pharrell came, sat down with, different family members and just to kind of like get like a backstory. And as they were preparing for the role, and Taraji P. Henson was sitting down with my great aunt, and as they were preparing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So and she was just very like humble person.
What was the formula about? Like, was it like a fuel formula or something? Like, what?
Yeah. No. So this was actually just like a math.
It was some math.
Yeah,
stuff.
it was like math stuff. Math stuff, and and so really just dealing with numbers. They called her like the human computer, and
so what was it in like the 50s or something? Or
yeah, this was I want to say like the late 50s,
the 1950s.
Yeah.
The
So
1900s,
like around like
bro.
Yeah,
we were born in the 1900s.
Yeah, so this was it's so crazy to think about that, man. Like
Charlamagne the Guy says that he was like, I was born in the late 1900s.
Yeah,
like, damn, when you say it like that.
Yeah, so I like
It sounds cool though.
it does though, like late 1900s. Man,
we're living in a book.
We are. So they're gonna talk about this in like 2050, 2060. All
So
this
she drops the formula.
Yeah, she drops the formula.
Did they try to steal it from her? Did they try to take her credit, or did she get credit off top?
I believe she got credit, but it wasn't really known to the public in a major way until recent years.
Because it was like top secret?
Yeah,
or
it was more, it was like one of those stories that you didn't really find out who it was until like later in life.
They,
You know,
they,
and
didn't want, they
something
didn't want the Russians to get their hands on the formula, probably.
could have been.
Because it was, it was a space war at the time, right?
Yeah, could have been.
Yeah.
So they were really, their goal was like, okay, we have to, land to the moon first. It's like kind of like competition, with other countries.
I guess it's a space race.
Yeah, it was like a space race. So it was like, competition of who could get there first during that time. And so NASA was like, they were sweating and trying to figure it out. And so then she got hired and was working there. And then the movie kind of displayed kind of her work environment and how it was back then. And
it was like sexist and stuff.
Yeah, sexist as well as like just dealing with like certain people in the office, and there for her to use the bathroom, she had to like walk like a couple miles.
Oh, that's the clip I seen.
Yeah, that was a clip.
That.
Yeah,
did you see that?
Yeah, so it was like it was like a whole thing, man, and just showing like the work environment and kind of like what she went through, and but still like being dedicated to figuring out, okay, what's the best way, and so she came up with that. And I really found out more about the story after watching the movie, because like she used to babysit me and everything, making me sandwiches and stuff like that.
Your parents told you like growing up, so you just like stopped caring about it.
Yeah, it was like a real brief, like, she did this. You're a great aunt, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm going outside. I didn't really take it serious, and then later in life, fast forward in life, and then she told me, and then, well, yeah, actually, my folks shared with me that. Yeah, they're making a movie about your great aunt. And then that's when, I was like, let me do my research a little bit more. And, she's very quiet, didn't really boast about her accomplishments or anything, man. So, and I was like, well, I need to do something to kind of honor that legacy, but just in the art world. So what can I do? And that wall in downtown Hampton always stood out to me. And so
because it was by like the space museum or
so it's like right over there, and I was like, well, what better way, so to do something. So the mural's titled Next Door, so like right next door to the Air and Space Center, and I felt that was like the best way that I could honor that as like a great nephew.
So you're a firm believer in the moon landing then, because some people still say we never went to the moon.
Oh no, I believe it all the way, man.
She knows for sure. She was like, yeah, we definitely went to the moon.
Really? This was. I mean, man, it was like they made sure that was clear, and I think the support behind the film and people really seeing like her story, it paved the way for a lot of untold stories to be told, and it was definitely something that was needed.
It's probably some conspiracy theorists out there like, that's the only reason they made the movie, to make us believe they went to the moon. Like,
yeah, they still,
they still trying to make us believe that.
Man, I already know. Like, they're still feeling that way. They're, but it's like, man, the evidence is there, man. That is based on a true story. So,
I believe
check it out if you get,
cool.
Definitely check it out. If you get time, the full film. And so yeah, man, it was just honored to see that, and
that's really awesome, dude. Bro, so, like. That's like historic. That's super historic.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
So now it's like you got something to live up to now in your family. Like
it's like, oh man, that pressure, man. I'm just, but I'm up to the challenge, and that was probably the biggest project. It took me about, I was working on that for like 6 months actually, off and on.
How big is the building? Or the wall?
Square foot. I can't even tell you like right off the top, but it's
that's 20 feet right there, wider than that.
Yeah. It's like downtown Hampton. It's massive, man. It's it's like a 3-story building.
3 stories?
Yeah, like three floors in total, or it could be 2. I'm thinking of.
Is it the one that I see on your Instagram? Is it like a corner in the picture? It's like a corner. It looks like there's some chairs like set up on the second part of it.
Yeah, it's by Market 20. Yeah, it's by Market. Yeah, it's Wine Street. So, but Queens is right there. So it's like where all those you have like the restaurants and everything on the storefront.
I think that's the one I've seen actually. Is that the one I put on my story? Do you remember?
Yeah.
When it was like last year?
Yeah. So you put that on your story one time. So that was like, it's a full wraparound. So there's another floor up top. So and then it's like the back side of the building too.
6 months. So what are you using, like extension ladders? Like,
and I completed the whole project without using a lift.
Have you used a lift before?
Yeah. I used a lift for there was a project we did for the Norfolk Street Museum that was organized and curated by the Can and also Charlie and
From Slow Dive?
Yeah, from Slow Dive. Yup. So they organized that project, and so like I did the building next to Andy Harris. So we shared the same building. He did like the right side at the front, and it was everything was black and white. So I used the lift for that. But yeah, for downtown Hampton, no lift, no cherry picker.
Ladders.
Yeah, my process is weird.
And I don't know, for people who haven't been on an extension ladder, they can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Especially outside if the wind's blowing or something like.
Yeah. Man, I fell from a ladder, man, 10 feet.
What, bro?
Yeah, recently when I was working on the Richmond project, the RVA Street Mural Festival.
How'd you fall? Like,
so I actually
how'd you land? Like,
I landed forward, almost like I don't know, man. It was weird, man. I landed like on my knee and like the sidearm, almost like I'm like posing for something. It was like weird, like I'm like like I was like Batman or something. I don't know, but
did you get hurt?
Yeah. They had an ice pack for me, and paramedics came.
The paramedics. Oh, serious.
Yeah, they were like, "Do you want to sit out and stuff?" Because there was a lady who was there, who walked into the bottom of my ladder, and I had the only area that didn't really have any like it wasn't taped off, no cones or anything. And they actually asked.
So that's how you felt. Somebody walked into your ladder.
Yeah, so they walked into the bottom of the ladder.
How do you miss?
Yeah, it was during the.
She was probably on her phone.
Yeah, it was during the festival, so it was like it was a lot of people, and I was painting on the last day. And she came by and just like the ladder came down, and I was more embarrassed than anything. Like the pain came after, but I was just looking around and so the ladder actually caught like the bottom of her ankle. So
Wow.
So her whole family was over there making sure she was good, and nobody came over to really check on me. None of her family members, but then people who actually were the staff of the everybody that was on the board though. For the festival came over, and they were like, "You okay?" Do you want a beer? Everyone was asking if I wanted beer, no water, nothing, And then that's when the paramedics came.
Or ice pack.
Yeah, they were like, "Well, we're gonna put some ice on it," and so
Drink this beer, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna walk this off. I was like, I'm gonna give myself 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna get back and finish this mural.
Did you get back to it?
Yeah, I got back right. Yeah, I got right back to it. I was like, I'm gonna sit out because they were like, it's okay if you want to, sit out the rest of the day, come back tomorrow. I was like, no, we have work to do, So, I got right back up, man, and got right back to it. And I was like, it's nothing, My knee was swollen and everything, but I had the ice up there, so I just wrapped my leg and got right back to it, man. And I actually have on the same pants right now. It's the hole.
As when you fell?
It's the hole right there. Yeah,
That's the hole from the incident.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy. I've been on I'm an electrician, so I've been on like tall ladders. I've been on lifts. Like
nice.
I put up, we wired up this fucking like a couple $1 million home like in fucking Toano somewhere a while ago.
Yeah.
And like in the living room was like this super tall ceiling. The whole house, it was like in the woods, right? Like big. I want to say, and I was 2 stories, but it was just huge.
Yeah.
Like really big in the middle of the forest, and the whole every like wall, every exterior wall is glass. So all the outside walls are glass. And this shit was insane, bro. But in the fucking living room was really tall ceiling, and we had to put this fan up. And it was like a really big fan, and it's crazy because the actual brand name on the box of the fan was called Big Ass Fan. not even playing. We had it weighed like 400 pounds. Like we had like welded up there, like So yeah, like it can be scary on the heights. Are you scared of heights, or were you scared of heights? I'm sure you got used to it now, but
I'm actually, to be honest, man,
your knees get a little weak when you get up there?
I'm not big on heights, but while I'm painting, man, it's like I just get it's a whole nother level of courage, man, that I get. I don't know. It's like I'm good when I'm on a ladder. I actually feel better on a ladder than when I'm on a lift. I know it's backwards.
Get comfortable up there.
Yeah, because it's like I'm close to. It's like I'm right against the wall. It's like I don't know. It's like a intimate thing, man. Intimate experience with the wall. I'm just leaning against the wall. I can feel the wall, hug the wall. It's a part of it, man. But when you're on a lift, it's like you have that space. It's like the railing on the side. I have no choice but to look down. It's like I'm, controlling like where I'm going. It's like cherry pickers, man. It's like just give me a a good extension ladder, and I'm good, man.
Yeah. At all the ladders I ever been on, the only time I ever fell off a ladder, I was coming down a 4-foot ladder and like slipped off the first step.
Oh, man.
And like rolled my ankle, which like actually hurt really bad. I like sprained it like pretty bad.
Yeah,
and
that
like,
can happen.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks later, actually while it was healing, I sprained it again. The same ankle, I rolled it again. So this was like a 3-4 month process to get this right. Like, so you touched on earlier. You feel like you were doing stuff that wasn't really representing what you were doing. Like, how you feel about what you're doing now? What are some what are some of your like near goals, or like where you want to take this? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So
what's success to you in the art space?
So, man, for me, I feel pretty good about where everything's at now. You know, I'm in a place now where it's like, you know, I want to continue to grow. And like I said earlier, really the motivation for me is like what things are possible, you know. And you know, I'm always watching documentaries and listening to podcasts, and you know, I'm looking at what artists are doing, and you know, I'm like trying to find what ways can I build my story or continue it, you know. And so just continuing to present myself in the best light, and to engage with people, all walks of life, you know, whether that be, you know, public art project, museum, gallery, you know, just to, you know, get into more collections, you know, just, yeah, that's really where I'm at now. And yeah, man, just seeing where that goes. I love, you know, like I say, taking on walls. Last year, my work was acquired by the VMFA. You know, it was like very pivotal moment for my career, and you know, it kind of gave me that like stamp of like, you know, I've like made it.
You feel like you made it,
but then at the same time, it's like you still have to work harder now. It's like I felt like, you know, it's like I have to work even harder now, you know, to make sure that, you know, even with that decision, for them to acquire that, it's like, you know, I want to make sure that that's like honored, and that, you know, I'm worthy of that, if that makes sense, you know. So
what does that stand for? VMFA?
Yeah, so Virginia Museum of Fine Art.
Okay.
And it's based in Richmond, Virginia. And you can't miss it. It's, you know, definitely one of the prominent museums. I believe they're open, yeah, like 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Or well, they have like set hours, but they're like open. You can visit like anytime, and they're open all year round, pretty much. So you know, you can visit anytime, and it was something that, you know, it just was a big moment in my career, and something that, like, you know, I was like, well, where can I go from here, and really just continue to focus on the work and put the work first, you know, and yeah, so.
Can you see painters and artists of like different mediums like being more like center in pop culture, like having a, you know, some, you know, we see the mediums that we always have stars in, fucking music, film, and TV and stuff like that, like sports. Do you see it being like young painters, somebody who's doing murals or something, like getting sponsored by Nike or having these cool sponsors, being like the center of attention in the spotlight? Like, I don't know if I see that.
Yeah, that
we see fashion designers, but we don't. Yeah. I don't really know any painters. Like,
yeah, so there's some now, and you know, I feel like we're in a good time, and that's back to the conversation earlier with social media and the power behind that. You know, you have like brands and businesses that are recognizing art can grow the business. And then vice versa, the business is helping to support the artists, you know. So it's like this relationship that comes out of it, and it's beneficial on both sides. And you're seeing more of that now, and I think social media has had a lot to do with that too, because you're seeing artists that, you know, wow, their style of work, it could work with our aesthetic, you know. So like if there's a business that has like a certain color palette that they're known for using, and then there's an artist that only works in those colors. You know, it's like,
it makes sense.
It makes sense to have a mural in the background for that. You know, it's like, why not use that? And It's giving their artists that opportunity, to maybe challenge themselves, and or if they're an artist that, they've been doing murals for years and, their colors are like, they only use black and yellow, how can we incorporate that to like a business that, their colors are black and yellow. So you're seeing a lot more of that. You definitely see a lot of that, West Coast, a lot of like major brands, of course, LA, New York, and, they're using, artists. And I don't even really want to say like collaborate, they'll collaborate with artists to really get projects going, and you'll see, how it develops their career and kind of like their resume of like what they've done. So there's an artist, I believe he goes by, he's like Blue, is like for short, but Blue the Great.
Blueface?
I mean, that's one, but yeah, Blue the Great. He had a big project with like Nike. Did like a whole like
with
court.
IKEA? You say IKEA?
Nah, did he do a project with IKEA?
Did you say IKEA?
No, Nike.
Oh,
Nike. Yeah, he did a project with Nike. Yeah, released some Nikes, and it was like his colors are like, I want to say like the yellow, red, blue, and green. And it was like, he's known for just using those colors all the time. And he's another muralist out on the West Coast. And, so seeing those type of collaborations, and I was like, man, this is, something that I want to say is like more almost like commercial, with that space and being in that realm of like, having your work seen in those type of environments and stuff like that. And, like my recent collaboration early last year, this is actually as a response to the World of Shapes exhibition that I had, where it was like fully immersive. You go in, the floor, the wall, the ceiling was painted.
I think Loplex was spinning there, right?
Yeah. So
I came to that, I think, right?
Yeah, man. Big
we
shout out
took
to
a picture of that.
Yeah, big shout out to Loplex and for him just helping with the vision, with like the lights and everything. He's a master with that.
Oh yeah, no, and actually now I do remember. Now I think I had the white beat. Did I have a white beanie on?
Yeah.
I remember that. I never wore that again. That was like the only night I ever wore that.
Yeah, so we were there, man. So thanks again for for pulling up, man. I wanted that to be really like a full experience, and it was my first time actually really throwing an event, as well as like with the exhibition. So I wanted to make sure that the music was right, and so I had Gabe. Was there, DJ Sub Ladies, and
actually, his episode is premiering like right now as we
nice.
talk. Yeah.
Hey, that's what's up, man. So I had him, and who else? Good friend of mine, Soup. Works with the Can as well.
Can of Soup, come on.
Yeah.
That.
So he's one of the board members there. I was worked at the Can for a long time, but he's also a DJ and does multiple things, man. He's based in DC now, but he helped me out. He had a set, and then I had DJ Wise, was there, so good friends with Asa. And so those are like kind of like the three DJs that I had, and I wanted each space to kind of have its own sound as you're kind of walking through everything, and to kind of tie into the full exhibition and our installation. And man, it was an experience, and it was something that I spent a month, like 12 hours a day, working to pull that off, man. I would
on the actual painting.
On the actual painting, yeah. I would set myself like I was working from like 2 in the afternoon to 2, sometimes 3 and 4 in the morning.
You take a lunch break? What you doing?
Yeah. I'll take a food break. And then I would sleep in late just to kind of catch up on rest. So like sometimes I'll work until like 5, 6 in the morning.
That was your life for that.
Yeah, that was my life for a month. I didn't do anything else. I cut off everything else. No social life, nothing else, man. I literally was at the Can for a month straight, working from like 2 to 3, 4 in the morning, and was painting everything with a brush, man. Yeah, you actually came in while I was working on.
Was it on that one?
Yeah. Okay. So it was that?
I think that actually might have been the one. I don't know if you've seen, but me and my name Brian, did a live performance. Video in the Can one time, and it was when it was all black and white. Was it that one?
Yeah.
Because didn't you do multiple ones at the Can? Like on the inside of it?
Yeah. So the one previous before, that was I did. It was like the front space of Eleanor and Hops, which is the name of the main gallery at the Can. And so my job for that project was for Black Spirituals. So it was like the play that we ran,
Yeah.
and so they wanted this scene where it was like everything was kind of like warping and you couldn't really tell what was where. It was like this it was supposed to be like this like party scene, and so they wanted the floors and the walls painted, and that was kind of like a prelude to what I was gonna do at the Can. And before that, I had did an immersive installation with the Hermitage Museum, which is located in Norfolk, and it was another big opportunity. Believe it was like their first time allowing like their walls to be painted.
The outside, like
Yeah, the
exterior wall?
outside. And so they were, they had like their list of artists that and muralists that they wanted to do work with, and they were like, yeah, you have access to the whole room. What can you do? And so the ceiling, the walls, and everything, and that was kind of like I was like, okay, this is gonna show me what I can do with the Can, and then right after that, I started painting at the Can. So it was like this ongoing like painting for like a couple of months. Like it was like nonstop, man, and so I wanted to give it like my all. I believe I had two paintings on display. So really two paintings, but I wanted the walls themselves to be what was the experience. And it was a good time, man. I had like merchandise. I had a good friend of mine. Shout out Beef with Simple and Proper. Yeah, he's amazing. Everything, man, like cut and sew, printing, everything. And he helped me with like, the bucket hats. I had tote bags. My tees have a source in Richmond that I go through. And so, yeah, really just because I wanted, tangible things that people can walk away with. And I wanted to treat the whole thing almost like like an indoor amusement park type of thing. You come in and it's like I want to buy something on the way out, after going through this whole thing. So I had prints, original prints. Asa was assisting me with that, all like hand pulled screen prints. And so it was a good time, man. And, I had fun creating the show. And then also for the marketing, big shout out to, Tremaine with Fawn, and, just with the visuals and everything, I told him, I was like, man, it's marketing genius. How can you assist me with this show and like, really getting, the show out there and he would be there working with me late, we would be up till 4, just filming and everything. And yeah, so I had a lot of people, Kata runs Can Talk, so he was a big help with that project and he was doing filming. Another good friend.
I think I always called him Arcader. That's like his Instagram, right?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I had like a whole team of like people just helping me, behind the scenes. And those are the things you don't always see that. A lot of the work that's like behind the scenes, you don't really see that. You just kind of see, you see the end result and it's something that, you appreciate, but like, it's a lot of work that goes into a show and anything that, that you do. So
yeah, just the part of people seeing it, that's like the smallest part.
Yeah, always.
That's great. It feels great.
Yeah.
But your thing is the making it. Like,
that's the
I love
process,
it, bro.
man.
The process. Like, really, the last question I really wanted to ask you was, is there anything you don't like about the state of the art space right now, or anything? Where do you like want to see innovation at? Like,
yeah, I definitely want to see, I definitely want to see, as it pertains to, even like Hampton Roads, and I think that's something. Hampton Roads has definitely become more progressive, with realizing like how art can be just this pivotal thing for business and for growth and tourism, and having people really like enjoy being here in Virginia, because you find often that people are they're like quick to like leave if they want to pursue anything creative. It's like I may have to like leave Virginia, where I find that you have everything that you need right here. it's just about having, the motivation to kind of create something in an area that it may not be like super saturated, because if you're going to like LA or like New York or Florida, you're competing with everyone that's like at the top, so your road to get there may take a little bit longer. Not saying that it can't be possible, because these are places where eyes are on you all the time. But I was always inspired to really create something that I felt I wasn't seeing a lot, So I was like, okay, I'm born, Hampton, Virginia. Didn't really see too many murals, at least in Hampton, growing up. You see it more now, and like Norfolk, you have the Neon District. Virginia Beach, you have like the Vibe. So like you're seeing more of it now. But for Hampton, Newport News, I would love to see more public art and just murals and different things, and really seeing where that could go, and having like the city kind of really back up artists in that way. So like, through funding, for various projects, and seeing where that could go, and even with like education, and knowing how to kind of present your work and things like that. And that's what makes the Can so special. And it's something that I find that they're kind of like, it's like this bridge.
They're kind of leading that cause.
Yeah, they're kind of like, the Can is really just leading the dots with like, education and developing, artists that may be familiar with certain things that, maybe not, So it's like, if whatever level that you're working, or if you're starting, or if you've been doing this for a while, the can still continue to develop that, and I think just through resources, education, and funding into careers, to sustain. And that's something that it's definitely a process. It's definitely a process, I find that, for certain projects, it may take time to even get approved, like even the downtown Hampton mural, just with the city and everything, it took a little while just to get that approved, for like zoning and stuff like that. So it's a process, man, but it's about being patient and then doing the work so that when the opportunity comes, you're already prepared, So it's like work as often as much as you can until the time comes, man. So I told myself a long time ago, I don't want to just seek opportunity all the time. I want to make sure that my work is where it needs to be. So then that's something that will just happen by default.
Which is consistency.
Yeah, that's it. So if it's like every day,
I think we're all like kind of just the whole scene. Like I think we're all taking the right steps to like create a real scene.
Yeah.
To create something to where other people want to move to Virginia and be a part of it.
Right. You're seeing a lot. That is you have people in position that are really, making, VA the place to be. And, like I love Virginia. Like I say, a lot of my roots, are here. And I have family in like the school system and, NASA. So, it's something that people ask me all the time, why don't you move, And I'm like, I can take on a project, I can leave for like a month, work on a project, but I don't necessarily have to like live there, But yeah, Virginia, man, this has always been home for me. Yeah, always been home.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I love it. That might be a fire spot to leave him at.
Okay.
Do you want to lead the people or anything you got going on people should know about or?
Yeah, of course, what's today? I'm losing like track of days.
Today is Friday.
It is Friday. So
the third,
Saturday, of course, we have our show opening with the Can Temporaries at Assembly, Norfolk.
Tomorrow?
So that's going to be tomorrow. Okay. Doors open at 7, and then we're having performance. It's going to be on the rooftop, I want to say at 7:30. So definitely it's going to be an experience. It's $5 for entry.
Who's performing?
And so it's actually going to be it's curated musicians with opera, I believe. So
Okay.
And
different.
so it's definitely gonna be an experience, and that's something that I've always wanted to experience that a little bit more in person, and it should be This will be a good thing, man. So it's gonna be at 7 tomorrow. Full display of artists that will have works available for auction. And the virtual auction actually goes live at 7 p.m. So, there'll be a link available to see what works are available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for sliding.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you guys for tuning in. All bros links will be in the description.
Definitely.
And,
big thanks
yeah.
to Off-World Podcast,
Sure.
man, this is, I'm excited, man.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate y'all having me. Yeah.